if I give you the lead, you need to be able to follow up. I've suggested to the European Council of Religious Leaders, and they have taken this up, is a project in Bangladesh on the Universal Code of Holy Sites. That's to stop people desecrating temples, destroying mandirs. And they have agreed to look at a model of how we work on this in Bangladesh. So that is a door that's open, and what you need to do as a community, as Bangladeshi Hindu, Buddhists and Christians, is give me names of one person from each faith who will come for meetings with the European Council of Religious Leaders to take this project forward. Not only do they need somebody from here to meet with them, then they need a group in Bangladesh that will work on the project. So there is some work here for you. A meeting has been organized with Murjibai Pindolia. Many of you may not know his name, but he is a vice president of the World Council for Religions for Peace. The Viennese Hindus have organized a meeting with him, and if someone from your group would come along and put the issues that you have, then he has a voice at the World Council for Religions for Peace, which is meeting in Vienna from the 19th through the 23rd of November. He can bring this issue up, just as I have done it at European level and kept him informed. He will now be able to bring this issue up at the world level. The other thing we will do, myself and Murjibai, and we do talk to each other regularly and work on these issues, is we will keep up the pressure and mention this issue in all the places that we visit. From the Bangladeshi Buddhists and Hindus and Christians, what we need is to provide groups from inside Bangladesh who can take lead, keep giving us the information in order for us to progress. Next slide. I know that you do some of this already, but don't stop just because you think it's not having an impact, because it does have an impact. Make sure cases are reported, logged, and can be independently corroborated, because that makes the authorities that can act on it listen. So that's going to be an ongoing thing. Hindu Forum of Europe will host a conference in the European Parliament either in late 2014 or early 2015 on this issue. So that's a commitment from us. We will do a conference if you keep the information flowing and we keep sending it through. The other thing we need is better coordination across continents to achieve more than in each surge. So to work with the Hindu American Foundation. We already have links with Hindu Council of Africa because that's where Murjibai Pindolia is from, and Hindu Forum of Europe. So we're working across 3 continents. If we can extend that and raise this issue on every continent, it will make a difference. There's also a need for some financial support in order to progress work. Because without that money, we can't do anything. Yeah? All of us give our time voluntarily, but we do need some money in order to make things work. So those of you who may not have time or may not have skill, if you have some money, please give that to the people who have time and skills. And then perhaps we can progress together. Long term. There is a need to set up an inter-religious council in Bangladesh. This would be a branch of Religions for Peace. So it would be then linked with the Council for Asia, which would be linked to the Religions for Peace, whose headquarters are in New York. At the moment, there is no inter-religious council in Bangladesh. So that is something, those of you who have a link, back home should think about working on. I'm happy to be consulted on that, and I will work through the European Council of Religious Leaders to make that a reality. And it's one of the things I've already put on the list for the World Council. When I was asked who did I want to meet there, I said I wanted to meet the leaders of the Asian Council. And we lack, and perhaps some of you can help with this, is residents who are prepared to give testament. Because there are a lot of groups, and the way Europe works, I can't quote for America, the way Europe works is unless they hear it directly from the victims, they will not give it the same credence. So we need residents of Bangladesh who suffered to give testament. What else can be done? I think you have to tell us that. So thank you once again for letting me have the opportunity to talk about the work I'm doing as European Council of Religious Leaders, Hindu Forum of Europe is doing with its remit at the European Parliament and with headquarters in Brussels. If there is anything else that we can do, please do come and find me and tell me, and I'd be very pleased to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bharti Taylor. Now, I would like to request Ms. Madeline Brooks to give her speech. She is a writer and freelance journalist from New York City.
Hello, everybody. Very happy and very moved to be here. I have to tell you that when I see these pictures of violated girls, and I see them there, and I read them, I see them in the newsletters that are sent around, it just really breaks my heart. It tears me up. Am I on? Can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay. And I want to do something. And I want to do something physical. Not violent exactly, but physical. And I also think about the strategies that are being offered so far, and I think, do they really go far enough? Are they going to do anything? Because I hear people talk about appealing to the United States government, to the UN, and I don't think that's going to work anymore. I think there was a time when the US was strong and could stand up for victimized people, but I don't think that's now. And I want to break this bad news to you with some facts. So I've prepared some things I'm going to read to you. Oh, and before I do that, let me just say that after I go through the reasons why I don't think there's a whole lot of mileage to be gotten out of working like that, I do have something else to offer as a remedy. I have a plan, and I'm going to tell you about that towards the end of my talk. So, political and economic sanctions take a long time to have an effect, if they have any effect at all. And I'm bringing that up because that's one of the main things that's mentioned. You look what's happening with Iran. We have made sanctions against Iran to stop their nuclear program, but all it has brought about is privation to the people of Iran with no slowdown of the nuclear program there. Today, even today's New York Times states that nothing has happened. And that goes a lot because the New York Times they've got an ideological slant, in my opinion, where they don't like to notice things like that. They're very inclined to give Islamo-fascist governments the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. So, what is needed now, I believe, are physical measures that stop the massacres from occurring in Bangladesh. And as I say, don't expect the US to do much to help. Now, as for the State Department, they give economic aid and have slapped Bangladesh on the wrist for not recognizing garment workers' rights, but they have done nothing to stop the persecution of innocents, have they? I mean, have they ever really intervened? Have they ever said, you Muslims, you stop killing and raping these people or else? No, have they? I mean, I don't know everything, but have they? I don't think so. In spite of pleasant-sounding rhetoric about good relationships from the State Department, like I reviewed what they have online, a lot of platitudes, it sounds very pretty. I think it's empty. The US has not intervened. They are not ready and able to defend Benghazi. The US military has become very weak. Troops are told to stand down. If Obama won't even defend Americans, like at Benghazi, how much support would he give to other people? Diplomats working for the US were allowed to perish there. Obama turned his back on them. Was he hiding something? A lot of people speculate about that. But he sent to their death men who worked for him. So if he could do that, what do you really expect from him to do for you? So Obama went to sleep, and the next day he went off campaigning as if nothing at all had happened. These were brave men who wanted to rescue the victims, and they were told to stand down. These horrible deaths could easily have been prevented. Right now, as a sign of our weakness, there are only 2 combat-ready troops because of the sequester. We have a diminished military. Obama appointed a defense secretary, Chuck Hagel, who believes in universal disarmament. Now, does that make sense? If your enemy is doing everything he can to make himself big, powerful, and strong, ready to go on the aggressive, are you going to bring about peace by making yourself weak? I really don't think so. It hasn't worked historically. Look what happened to Chamberlain, rather. Look what happened with the appeasement during World War II. It didn't go so well. Plus, as far as the military goes, fewer funds are going to it. The Obama administration may, in fact, be in the midst of a military purge. This year alone, 9 senior commanding generals have been fired by the administration, most likely because of their political ideology. As for the mood of Americans, I have to tell you, I've lived here all my life. I think I can pretty well judge the mood. Americans are tired of fighting wars for other people. They really are in an isolationist mood. So no support will come from there. Obama is deporting fewer illegal immigrants now than at any time during his administration. What this means is that more terrorists coming in to form sleeper cells are allowed to come in without being routed out, further weakening American security and the morale of the people. Because what happens when a population is being undermined from within, but you can't speak about it because of political correctness, is people either get mad like me and become activists, or they go to sleep and they concern themselves with things like sports, shopping, food, their new electronic devices, stuff like that. According to the Washington Times, it's a very reputable newspaper, Obama's administration has the means and the money to deport illegals, but ICE officials were told to look the other way. He's got an agenda. Doesn't sound too good, though. Moreover, the mood in this country is very suspicious of our own government. There's widespread talk of secession, pulling away, not trusting big government. So you see, we are preoccupied with our own problems. Again, how much support do you think this country is going to give Bangladesh? In this religious war that's going on, with fundamentalist Muslims trying to dominate, exploit, and kill non-Muslims, we see Obama giving ideological and even material support to the fundamentalist Muslims, the Al-Qaeda in Syria. Wow, that sounds pretty darn bad, don't you think? So as you know, the Copts in Egypt are undergoing a similar persecution to the minorities in Bangladesh. There are bombings, murders, rapes, forced conversions. Like you, the Copts were the original people of their land before the Muslim conquest of it. Has Obama stood up to them? No. In his 2009 speech at Cairo, he extolled non-existent Muslim virtues and achievements, such as the inventing of the printing press. Hey, how about Gutenberg? That's where the printing press was invented. That's in Europe. And he did not mention at all the plight of the oppressed Copts. He's never mentioned it. What they're going through, you know, at one time, everything was Copts, with a few